Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to another Our Town Community TV show. I am super excited to have my friend Marcie Reif with us in the studio, and we're going to be talking all things Marcie 360 in this 15 minutes together. But Marcie, thank you, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
You
Thank you for having
so
me.
good to have you here. Marcie is a decorated photographer, so she's used to be on the other side of the camera. So today you're getting to see her talents on this side of the camera. But for those people anywhere listening that don't know you, just tell people a little bit about your background.
Okay, so my background is really what I started out was an elementary teacher, and that was always my passion, was to be a teacher. Loved being a teacher, wanted to be around kids, loved being around other teachers, loved being in a school. And so that's what I started out doing. And then when I had my daughter, I just became obsessed with taking pictures of her and wanting to learn. And I remember I was getting my master's degree, and I was in those classes, and I was like, oh, I wish I was taking photography classes. I just had this burning desire, even though I still loved being a teacher, and I didn't want to really stop doing that. But I had this other deep desire that
Passion.
Yeah, and I was just desperate to learn. So I got a camera, and I started taking classes, and I did not plan on starting a business or anything like that, but one thing led to the next, and I guess it was 2012 that I started a business.
Oh, wow.
So it's been 10 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So in those 10 years, so much has changed. I remember when I started out, I was just going to take pictures of the kids. I named my business Giggle Prince Photography, which was very limiting. And then I guess maybe around the 4-year mark, I started to kind of rebrand, and I wanted to teach photography eventually, which thankfully I've been able to do. So I changed my business name to Marcie Reif Photography, hoping I could, shoot lots of other things that would make sense and that name could grow with me, which it has. So, 10 years later, it looks so different. I'm not in the classroom anymore. But I do get to teach photography a lot.
You're still using your teaching skills.
Yeah,
just in a different way, right?
Yes, and really my skills with kids, which I think has helped the business
I would say
a lot.
So. I would say
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Adults are all, whether it's adults or kids, but having that teaching background would
Yeah.
be key. So you did that, and now where did you? I can't remember. You were originally from where?
Michigan.
Michigan.
Port
But you
Huron,
like
Michigan.
Georgia, probably a little bit warmer weather's here.
Yeah, we're
so
happy in
you're not
Georgia.
missing the cold.
No, we're not missing
Okay.
the cold. This is like the best time of year to be here. It's still a little cold here, but we know how much colder it
Yeah,
could
I
be,
would think
so.
you would. I wondered if anybody's ever moved south going, I want to be back in that cold. I don't know. Well, let's talk. Okay, so you should be very proud of a 10-year business that exceeds all the thresholds of small business and even through this crazy pandemic and all the stuff we've been doing. But let's talk about your family and friends. How important is that to Marcie in terms of keeping you balanced and all the stuff that you do in your life?
Well, my family and friends are really what helped me get this started. I remember when I was at Mountain Park, it was
That's
like
right.
all the teachers were letting me take pictures of their kids,
That's right.
and and then they have just supported me along the way. But it's also nice too because they don't know anything about photography, so I can really separate those two worlds when I'm with my photography friends, and
We can get
right into it. And sometimes it's like I never talk about photography this much because my family and friends they don't know anything about it. So
that's like getting me talking about marketing or leadership.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, thank you. Go talk to your friends about that, right?
Yes, so I guess it does help me balance both because
Well, if you're talking to the average person of something you're just deeply passionate and know so much about, they're like, oh, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Nor do we love you,
Right,
but we don't.
right.
Yeah, it's But so we were talking before you went on air. So you go out to retreats and training sessions. I know you've spoken and trained. And who are you training? Is it up and coming photographers, or people want to get better in their trade or craft?
It's a little bit of both. It kind of depends on where I'm at and where I'm speaking. Most of the time, I'm speaking to photographers who already know how to use their camera. They are just trying to either grow their business or get better at whatever it is that they're trying to shoot. Usually family photography is what I'm teaching on. Sometimes it's organizational skills, sometimes it's business. But then when I go off and do the retreats, that is just women, and that is not only teaching them to be better at photography, but mostly empowering them, mostly giving them the confidence to reach their goals. And
No,
you know,
I don't want to jump in, but are those people in the women thing, are those people that are newer in their career, or they still could be established as well?
they could be established as well. I mean, most of the time photographers their background isn't in photography. So like for me, it was in education. So sometimes people do go to college to learn photography, but that's not the norm. So sometimes they learn how to use their camera and they get really good at it, but there's so much more to running the business to make it successful that they need to learn.
So you're really kind of holistically teaching them from 10 great years of experience and success, all the nuts and bolts of plan. I mean, it's probably like a lesson plan almost in teaching, all the things you've got to consider in addition to the photography.
Yes. The teaching background helps me to teach other people because that seems to come pretty natural to me. Like, I know how to do this. It seems to come easy to me to tell somebody how to do it or to teach them.
Teach them how to do what you have in your head.
Yeah, and sometimes when people are good at something, they're good at it, but they can't teach it. And
that's true.
It seems like that was kind of a natural progression for me where
that's cool.
I still wanted to be a teacher. I didn't want to leave the classroom. I just couldn't do both. And
but you're still using your teaching skills, just in a different way, which is awesome.
It just seems like that's part of me that needs to come out. So I'm glad that I found ways to fill that.
Well, I'll tell you, for the record, my standing headshot is done by yours truly. So she makes, and then I had like 3 people in my life who were like, I forgot what they said, and then they got headshots. I'm like, how did you do that? And I'm like, we liked your headshot. So I'm like, okay, well, but it's just a real skill. But I think that, I don't want to say anybody can take a picture, but it's the whole relax, get set.
Yeah.
And even in my limited experience of doing that, it was just very professional, fun, and I would assume that's part on a little scale what you try to tell photographers.
Yeah.
You got to kind of come in with a plan for a session instead of just showing up.
Yeah, that's the big part of it, is being able to talk to people, make people feel comfortable, make people feel relaxed, and which is what I did with you.
Yes.
You were quite nervous, which is the norm. I mean, most adults, because we don't like to be in front of the camera.
Right.
So most of the time they're very nervous, self-conscious. They're telling me all their shortcomings and all the ways they're not photogenic. And honestly, everybody does that. I'm really used to it. And so
you were like,
I feel like my
this smile. I'm like,
I feel like my job is to make them smile, relax.
You did.
Make it seem fun, and next thing you know, and I'm watching on the other side of my camera to see that relaxed smile, and I keep talking to the person until I see it. And once I know I see it, then I know we can kind of stop, look at the pictures.
So you pulled a Jedi mind trick. You did get it to work because you're like, okay, quit telling me, just smile. I remember that. And you're like, okay, you're done. It's like a dentist. Like, it's done. I'm like, well, I just am trying to make sure the pictures are like, I know they're done. They're right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's normal. Women are worse than men. So.
Yeah. Well, I remember I hadn't done that like 10 years, so when I went in, but I was happy. That gives me another 7, 8 years in that photo. We'll roll with that. But so, what are some things like that you like to do for fun that your family or your friends that you just like to, that you're looking forward to in the new year or whatever that you and Marcie enjoys for fun?
Well, probably one of my most favorite things is watching my kids do whatever sport they're into. I love watching them do what they do. I love taking pictures of them doing those things. The whole reason I started this was to take pictures of them, and I still love to do that. That's still my favorite thing. And my daughter and I kind of go off and do more creative things together that she's into, but my son, he does not prefer that. So I get to take pictures of him playing baseball, and I make videos, and I just the stuff that makes me happy that I get paid absolutely nothing for sometimes bring me the most joy. Sure. And it really has to do with whatever they're doing, going on trips with them. I like to document things like that, and I like to make reels and TikToks and videos and things like that, but doesn't really have anything to do with my business. Sure. It just has to do with what we're doing. And
but you're experimenting and seeing. I mean, probably for a small business owner, I would think, I'm still learning the ins and outs of TikTok and how it could apply to business, but it's just kind of exploring, right?
Yeah, I'm not great at applying that all to my business either. I'm great at like creating them just for fun, but I'm not the best at, I'm still figuring that out, but that has helped me so much because over the pandemic, I was learning how to use TikTok, and it really was just for fun, but all of a sudden that became a pretty important part of small businesses to make these videos, and pictures are no longer as, relevant, and it's all video and stuff. So Along the way, I feel like just practicing those things, doing them for fun, has helped me to
keep your skills or learn new
yeah,
things.
and just not be so scared of it and scared of the change.
How important when you're training or teaching people do you tell people about continual learning, like continually learning and getting better at what you're doing if they're serious about it?
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty important, and I do the same thing. Like if I want to learn something, I find somebody who's an expert in it, and I reach out to them, and I, ask them, can you mentor me in this? Can you teach me this? And I feel like I tell that to people too. Like you can get lots of free content on the internet places, but they're only going to give you a little bit.
Right.
So if you want the whole piece or you need to learn the whole thing, you need to invest in somebody else who can teach you what you want to learn.
Because that's their expertise.
Right, that's what they're expert in. And also just things, like these free platforms like, Instagram, like they don't really owe us anything. They're just a free platform.
No,
like,
they don't.
I know that we think like this is the end all be all, but really there's so much more that we have to do ourselves that are, because those things could be gone tomorrow,
And that's right. I mean, our own home space, I won't get marketing on you, but our only thing we really own, quote unquote, is our website, albeit sometimes I know I'm guilty of forget to even look at my own website for, the changes that need to be made. But you're right. I mean, these Instagrams are, there's no guarantee that's going to be around tomorrow. I mean, and you just look at the changes in something like Twitter.
Yeah, people get so upset about the changes, and it's just
that's part of it.
It's a free platform, and if you want it to do things for you, you can pay, you can put money into it, and it will do what you want it to do. But other than that, we just have to remember that is just a part of our business.
100%.
It doesn't need to be the whole thing, and there's just more to it than just that,
100%. So, what are you going into the new year? You have more trainings and stuff you're going to be doing that you're planning on?
Yeah,
Take me to Idaho.
Well, the retreat's going to go to Florida this time.
Oh, okay.
We're going to go back to the beach, but then hopefully we'll go back out west.
Florida beach is
so
good
beautiful.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there'll be another retreat. We're getting that filled up right now. I'll be going to a couple more conferences. Sometimes that stuff gets added throughout the year, but at least 2 of them. I'll be going to Las Vegas, which I know you go to a lot. And where's the other one? I think it's in Kentucky Tennessee.
Tennessee. Is it Nashville?
No, it's Chattanooga.
Chattanooga. Okay.
Yeah, Chattanooga. So I've got that coming up in March.
Well, throw out your website because do you list this stuff on your website?
Yeah, and I'm getting a whole new rebranding done in January, which I'm excited about too. Which I've hired a professional to do that, and I have some of those skills, but I know that I don't have all of those skills. So, but yeah, MarcieReif.com, all of that is there. So.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the kicker. I mean, it's sometimes we get to our own stuff last, and let me know how that goes. I might be calling that person. I'm myself just sitting there, and people are like, "We can't read your mind. We don't know what you want."
That's right. I mean, I rebranded probably 6 years ago, and there's so much that has changed, and I've kind of kept it up, but it's becoming like this hodgepodge of, she's going to get it all back to like a cohesive look for me again.
If you want to do your job well, this is what I think anyway, is it's almost impossible to, I feel hodgepodgey. That's how I feel right now. I feel like mine's halfway all over the place.
Yeah.
I know what I want, but you got to sit down and make time to do it. And that's like we would say to if you were training photographers, if you want to grow, you have to have dedicated time to do this, or you're really just going to be declining or staying the same.
Yeah. And for me, that's what January is for. In the portrait world, that's not a natural time that people get portraits taken. It's more around the holidays. We are just getting through our busy season. So January is like a planning month and just getting ready for the year, type of time.
So do you continue then, so you go to your things that you lead, but you said you also continue to do training and development for yourself? Or do you go specialized stuff?
Yeah. When I'm at those conferences, I definitely go sit in on other
things you want to learn.
Yeah, other classes, things I'm interested in, things I don't know anything about that, like video. Like always can learn more about video, so I try to find things and try to learn from people that I don't know much about.
So continuous learning is the key, and I guess we're coming to an end. So Marcie, Reif, thank you so much for being my guest on the show.
Thank you so much. Yes, it was great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Folks, you've been listening to another Our Town Community TV show. Special guest Marcie Reif. We will see you again next time.